California, go get your hot dogs ready, because you on fire.
Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour. Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
Welcome, one and all. We are back for another wasted hour. It is a shame because the one place where there are so many fires right now is the one place where they have no water. It is the most unfortunate turn of events. So all of you listening on the West Coast, I'm assuming there's none of you. I hope that you are safe. I hope you are able to drink and not catch fire and all of the things that go along with it. Instead of you evacuating your homes and saving your lives, may I suggest spending the next hour listening to an ignorant, uninformed, ill-advised, self-deprecating moron ranting about opinions that I have no right to have, which are probably wrong and absolutely do not matter. Our goal here at Another Wasted Hour is to convince you that where we hail from, just outside Washington, D.C., is not just a city of politics and scandals, but one brimming with art, music, and fire. As impossible as that may seem. So, listeners, now that you know why you're here, I'm Keith, and joining us fresh off the road is Ben Tufts and Clinton Cool from the band Fuzz Queen.
What's up, guys?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, how you doing?
So let me put the voices with the names. So, Ben, say hi for us.
Hi.
That's Ben. Clinton, say hi.
Hi.
They sound exactly the same. That's the same. There's no difference, is there? No, not at all.
I can speak in a really terrible British accent for the entire podcast if that'll help
just
anyone.
to differentiate, that would be good. We should just but then Clinton will start doing it.
Yeah, I'll do the
and
same
then
thing.
And then I'll do it, and then everyone will think that we're a British podcast, and they'll pay us more because they'll probably higher quality.
Yeah.
BBC does great work. I'm just saying. So. What do you think? You guys, now you said, Ben, you were on the road. I lied a little. Clint, you didn't actually get to go on the road.
Yeah, you did lie, and then you just told the truth.
Which so I made up for it. It didn't roll off the tongue as well to say, like, just off the road, except for Clinton, because he had to work. That didn't have quite the patter to it. So, but did you guys make it out to California?
We did.
Was it on fire?
It was not. The part we were, it was actually most of the road we were, it was pretty rainy.
So what you're saying, it's your fault. Like you just threw a match as you left.
Yeah.
You're like, bye bitches.
Yeah, we started the tour in Berkeley, California.
Oh, nice.
And
okay.
we were actually supposed to play Chico, but that show got canceled.
That's rough when you're like halfway across the country and they're like, never mind. You're like, I'm already here.
It was a drag, but we had a run of 5 shows planned, so 4 out of 5 is enough to keep you in the majors.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's very meatloaf of you.
Yeah. So after not playing Chico, we played Portland, Seattle, and then we came back south to play Salem, Oregon, which is about an hour-ish south of Portland.
So you didn't actually like drive out there and drive back, did you?
Well, this is another fairly complicated and not very interesting answer, but
the favorite kind.
So we are half of a band called Fuzz Queen, and the band is fronted by a husband and wife, Chris Stello and Aaron Frisbee. Mm-hmm. And Chris's parents live in Central Coast, California, in a tiny town of Paso Robles, which you probably have only heard of if you drink lots of wine, because there's a lot of wine that gets made there.
I also, is that from the Flintstones? I feel like that's a city from the Flintstones.
Yes.
Paso Robles.
That is 100% true.
So, no, you can't shake your head on the radio. Like, that doesn't work. Visual gags are completely lost in the audio medium. All right.
Sorry about that.
All right. So they were out visiting family,
So yeah, they spent the, after our last show here in DC, which was early November, they drove out to the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
In the vehicle that we have done all of our touring in.
Gotcha.
And the plan was to just, somebody that we've been using to do our PR recently lives in the Pacific Northwest, and I enjoy the Pacific Northwest. And so we were discussing, like, over the summer, if you guys are going to be out there anyway, why don't we do a string of shows and we'll get to meet the folks we've been working with and play some shows. And so that's what we did.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Overall success, does it feel?
Really fun. We had, another slightly longer answer than it necessarily needs to be. But Chris and Aaron and I were all in another band previously that toured
really?
and called Miss Siobhan and You Murray.
Okay.
For 4 years, we toured nationally, and
Nice.
and so this lineup was originally intended to kind of be a reboot or a rebrand, but we stopped playing all of the old songs, and our sound is much more aggressive than the old band. So we don't really call it that anymore. We just say we all used to be in another band. We loved playing those songs, but we don't play them anymore. So
Interesting.
yeah. So and I have completely forgotten why I started to answer this way.
So we said was it successful? The
Oh yeah.
the tour?
So
And you said-
sorry. So
and you
it
said
wasn't.
it was a lot of fun.
It was a
which
lot of fun.
Typically means no, it wasn't successful.
Well, so we had reasonable expectations because even though we've toured a bunch, we weren't really necessarily able to call on some of our old contacts and our old fan base in those areas because this is totally new stuff.
Right.
So we didn't expect to have a huge turnout. We had a really good turnout in Portland.
That's great.
And a really good turnout in Salem, which was actually my favorite show, even though it was the only bar show. The rest were club shows. Because we played with a couple really great bands, one in particular, Man Dark, who I want to give a shout out to. They were really fantastic. They opened for us in Salem.
Nice.
A fairly new band in that area, and super mathy and like aggro and really
Cool.
nice folks too.
Yeah. So for those people that don't know, when you have a good night on tour, that's great because getting like friends and family and people that you know to show up at a show where you live is hard enough.
Sure.
To get them to do it like halfway across the country or all of the way across the country is basically just it's kind of like how I view astrophysics, where they're like, hey, we determined that planet like around that other sun, it has oxygen. I'm like, how did you find that out? Like, that's a guess, right? There's no way that you got that. And so when bands like are like, oh yeah, we're from California, and then they show up in DC and they draw 100 people, I'm like, what? How is that? Did you bring them with you?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? So it's good to hear that. Now, for those people who are listening and don't know, Ben Tufts and I go back quite a bit, but in a very like tertiary way. We've same music scene. We keep running into each other and stuff like that, but we've never played together or anything.
We've probably pissed off some of the same people.
Yeah. Oh, that I'm sure of.
Yeah.
We both have very long beards, so that at least that seems to be true for both of our lives.
You're both pissing me off. Right now, so well done.
And and so in the 17 years that I played music, I don't do it anymore because my time's over and I'm making space for all the young kids. And but
Not me.
yeah, you're right.
I'm old and I'm staying.
You're like exactly.
I'm staying. I'm finished. I'm finishing my career.
You have the tennis racket, and you're like, stay away from the books, kids.
Arthur Ashe statue joke.
Yeah, all those people who are listening from not our area, you won't get it probably. But in Richmond, there's a statue of Arthur Ashe, and it looks like he's beating children for reading books.
With a tennis racket.
Yeah, with a tennis
As
racket.
one does.
Which does seem appropriate. So I played with one band for like 17 years. You've played with like every band. Like if it comes out of Washington D.C., you've probably at least subbed for a night, right?
I've been a very promiscuous drummer
You
for
have been.
quite some time. Yeah.
And so I think one of my regrets musically is I never actually got a chance to play with you. We kept
Let's start a band.
We should.
No, we
it
shouldn't.
wouldn't be good. I haven't played in a while. But I don't know much about Clinton. So tell me about yourself. You obviously play with Fuzz Queen. You're the bassist.
I am.
Ben
Yep.
is the drummer. How did you get involved with Fuzz Queen? And have you done projects before this? Or what do you
Yeah.
do?
So I got involved with Fuzz Queen by way of Ben Tufts.
Well, that's a good connection to have.
Yeah,
You can get involved with a lot through Ben Tuff.
I agree.
Usually it's law, like it's law related, but
It's a good thing I'm an attorney. So, years back, I don't know, maybe at least a decade, I guess.
Wow.
I used to be in this Elvis Costello, let's say, tribute band.
really, okay,
Yeah. And we used to practice at Barco Rebar.
yeah,
Shout
okay.
out to Barco Rebar.
A lot of people have played there. Yeah, it's a practice joint here, just outside DC, right?
That's
It's not
right,
in
Falls
DC.
Church.
It's in Falls Church.
Falls Church,
Near
yeah.
the State Theater. Yeah.
Yeah, and one Saturday, my band was playing and Ben's band was playing, Ben was on a break, and our singer, who lives in Seattle now, Ben was just hanging out with him.
Elvis Costello. It was
right.
actually him doing a
Yeah, he
tribute
lives in
band.
Seattle now. He's not shy, so he saw Ben in the hallway and started
Yeah.
talking to him. Next thing you know, Ben is banging out the rhythm to one of the more complicated songs that Elvis does, and we were smitten. And after our drummer left, Ben filled in.
Okay.
And we got to talking. And Ben asked me if I was interested in joining another band, not Fuzz Queen, a band called Lowercase Letters. We played in that band for a while, and
Okay.
that, the relationship just blossomed.
Now, when you
And then-
said when the drummer left, was that because you guys walked into the room and you were like, get the fuck out? We got a new guy.
Exactly. No, he moved. He moved
Okay,
because
okay.
we told him to get the fuck out.
Not only are you out of the band, but you're going to have to leave the
Out of
vicinity.
state.
This is our city.
Yeah. So we have a bit of history, and then Fuzz Queen needed someone to fill in for a show in DC.
Okay.
What was that 2 summers ago? I believe. Yeah. And it was the first show that they were going to play as Fuzz Queen, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, sure, shit, I'll do that. I've never
Nice.
played at what was that island?
It was the Kingman Island
Kingman
Folk
Island.
Festival, actually,
Okay.
which is funny because our old band was definitely had some heavy like Americana and like classic
Okay.
country type influences. So that band made sense to book.
Yeah.
And we told Chris that the new band was not that, but he wanted us on the stage anyway. So we agreed to play because it's a fantastic festival.
Oh
Chris
yeah.
Very
and all
cool.
those folks do a great job with it.
Well, let's talk more about this. I definitely want to hear more about how the band came together and what you guys are doing now. I understand that you guys are doing a release of a single on Friday, December 15th at Comet Ping Pong in Washington, D.C.
That is correct.
So if you want to check that out and get more information, go to www.fuzzqueen.com. We also have a track from Fuzz Queen. If you fast forward to the 1 hour mark of this particular podcast, you can listen to the entire track. If you want to hold off and make it wait a little,
You want to delay your gratification.
right. If you want to like Margaret Thatcher, cold on a rainy day kind of thing. If you can wait until the next break, we'll play a little snippet of it and you can hear it then. In the meantime, we're going to move over to one of my favorite bits, the weather report. So you guys have both been very good musicians, fairly successful musicians. I'm guessing neither of you are an editor-in-chief of a publication.
That's a good guess.
Okay, excellent. So tonight you get to do that. We're going to make a fictional publication that you guys are going to be in charge of. If you want to split up the duties, that's fine as well. I will warn you, I'm going to pitch you as your loyal associate and reporter some things that I think should be in the publication, and you're going to let me know whether or not they're news and if they're going to make it in. At the end, I will warn you, I'm kind of looking for what the name of this is, just so we can let our listeners to keep an eye out for the newsstands. So without further ado, let's get started. We're a little behind on time, so I'm going to blow through some of these things. This smart condom will give insights into your sex life you probably didn't want. That's right. It's like a Fitbit for your dong. It's the Icon. It will measure all sorts of standard exercise metrics like pulse and calories burned, but it gives you little extras like number and velocity of thrusts. The Icon, which is actually more of a band, not a condom. It goes over a condom. Fits around the base of your wang and also can detect chlamydia and the clap. So it will actually have a purple light if it detects that. So you can be like,
It's like the
We're
sword
done.
from The Hobbit.
yes, exactly. it's your precious. It's a cock ring, though. Perhaps the most one cock ring to join them all.
Can't wait to tell all my students to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It's perhaps the most unique feature is that you can share your stats using the Icon app with friends and family. They say friends and family, which I don't think they mean, because I doubt anyone's going to be like, Mom, look at how hard I thrust. So the product has almost 1 million pre-orders from around the globe, and will run you about $80. So new way to maybe lose weight. The question is, if you need to get those steps in, is it news?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
You have to keep your bit fit.
Yeah, that is what it is.
Yeah.
It's the icon, and I'm wondering if they do have commercials, if they'll have Akon do it. Like that's what I want to see happen. Like, I just had sex, and like he has the icon. Like, it would make sense. I'm just saying.
True.
All right, so we got one down. On to the next. If you thought My Chemical Romance's Black Parade was depressing, get ready for the saddest parade ever. A permit has already been issued by the city of Cleveland on January 6th to a well-meaning, forward-thinking fan to celebrate, in quotes, the Browns' winless season. Yes, so if they go winless, he's already got it all planned out. They are currently 0-9. So they have to go in 0-16. They're on the better side of that right now. They've made it over halfway there. So the question I had for you guys, I know that we're very serious right now in a board meeting about what the publication is, but I had to just pick your minds for a second. What is the saddest float that you can think of to put in a parade? Like, if you were tasked with the saddest parade ever and they were like, we need you to make a float, what would you go with?
Man, that's a tough one. I think whatever it would be would have to be deflated.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Just like one
Maybe
arm.
like
just
a like half inflated moon bounce.
Exactly. It doesn't really float.
right. And you won't actually bounce on it. It just sucks you in.
Yeah.
Right. Clinton, do you have one? What would...
That is exactly what I was thinking. And, that is why we are co-editors.
Right.
Right.
That's perfect. I was thinking maybe like one of those really like those decoupage or what is it? Paper mache ones, and it's just a single man buying an entire ice cream cake. Like, that seems, because if that happens, if you were like a clerk at the supermarket and you're like, oh, birthday, hey, do you have a birthday coming up? And he's like, no. Like, kids? Do you
I
have
mean, if
kids?
you wait long enough.
No. Why? It's like, you have a whole ice cream cake. Yeah, it's been a rough week. like,
What do you do on Thursdays?
for some reason, it, like, regular cake doesn't give me that feeling because I'm like, you could eat a regular cake over a period of a week or something. Ice cream cake seems to have like a countdown timer to it, where it's like, you got to get that before it melts or it's not worth it. So this is either going to go badly, you're going to end up with a melted cake, or you're going to eat a lot of ice cream cake all alone. So that's the one I would go with. So, we've got an idea of what we'd put in the sad parade. Is the sad parade news?
Well, I'm not much of a sports ball fan, so I'm going to defer to Clinton on this one.
I would say no, because football is just not violent enough for me.
It's not. There aren't enough knives. Is that what you're saying?
Although I have to admit, like, a headline that involves the words brown and streak could be pretty eye-grabbing.
That is true. I like to think of putting it maybe in like a current, or like an upcoming events like calendar, but with a question mark, like upcoming events. There might be a parade.
We
maybe
could put
not.
it in the middle of the publication so that the brown streak would be in the crease.
in the crack of the
Yes.
publication.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So
So we're 18 minutes in and I've already made a poop joke. That's good.
I was surprised it took so long.
Me too. Well, I'm a little backed up.
Usually it's so much easier for you. That's number two. You just pour out. So Jim Beam introduces a $35 decanter that will speak to you in a Kentucky accent for 6 months.
Fuck yeah.
Yes. Is the fact that you're constantly drinking alone starting to wear on your self-esteem? Well, they've got an app for that. Not technically an app, but an appliance. It is a very limited Alexa, essentially. It can only do a few things. It can answer questions about bourbon. It can speak in the voice of Fred Noe, who is a 7th-generation master distiller from Kentucky. It can pour you a shot, and it can stop working after 6 months, because that's as long as it lasts.
Is this a battery issue? or
Yeah, I think so. You can't replace the battery, and it just dies.
Planned
And-
obsolescence.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at that point, you're in a 12-step program anyway.
Right. After that 6 months, you don't care because you don't even remember where you put it. So,
Underneath the pizza boxes.
right, exactly. I just put the toilet roll on top of it. And You can buy the decanter for $34.90 on Jim Beam's website, except they sold out in 2 hours the same day it came out.
Oh,
So they knew their market, apparently. Now, the question I have that I'd like, on the editorial perhaps is, can you really call yourself a master distiller if the byproduct of your work is Jim Beam? I'm not trying to be judgy. I'm just like, there's like 6 generations turning over in their graves right now, right? Like going like, Sonny, I thought you had a purpose. So we know that if you don't want a Google Assistant or an Alexa, there's a way that something can answer questions for you and make you not care about those answers. Is it news, though?
yeah, absolutely. Anything that's related to the brown stuff. That wasn't a poop joke. I actually just really enjoy bourbon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so the one before this is also back in now. All right, so we've got a couple because the Browns one didn't make it in, correct?
Right.
So right now we have Condom and Jim Beam, which sounds kind of like
It's
your
in the
life.
wrong order. But,
Yeah. All right, so next up, coworkers tease suspected serial killer about looking like a serial killer. Yes, that's true. When you see one of those composites of a murder suspect on the news and it looks like someone you know, maybe don't bring it up. Howell Emmanuel Donaldson was finally taken in on 4 charges of murder after a 6-week hunt for the Seminole Heights serial killer in Tampa Bay, Florida. He was arrested when he dropped off his handgun to his manager at the McDonald's where he worked, and the manager went, "What the fuck?" and alerted, because there's not like an actual like McDonald's policy where it's like, if you have a handgun, bring it in and give it to your manager. So the manager, he was like, hold
like
on
a
to
Toys
this.
for Tots thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I need you to do with this later. And he was like, I'm going to alert the officer that's in the restaurant right now.
Wow.
Interestingly, he was not busted when his coworkers saw a composite of the suspect on the news that looked just like him. Instead, they just teased him about it. This is a lose-lose scenario, right? Now,
Yeah.
if you take a step back for just a moment and you're these people, you see a composite that looks like your coworker and you go, I'm going to tease my coworker. Best case scenario, you're going to like irritate your coworker by comparing him or her to a serial murderer, or you're taunting a serial killer. Like, think through what you're doing, people. Like, haha, you look like a serial killer. Like, it's like going into the woods and being like, haha, you look like a grizzly bear. Like, that's a grizzly bear. Run.
SWAT dead. Yeah.
So I don't even blame Howell Emmanuel for the things he did, as much as I think he should have murdered his coworkers because they were asking for it. Is it news? That's the question.
That's pretty funny.
It is funny, and it's also a warning. It's why you should
It's
not
a cautionary tale. Is
eat.
that what
Yeah,
you're
I
saying?
mean, you shouldn't eat McDonald's. It's not good for you.
Right, it turns you into a serial killer. All right,
There
fair
goes
enough.
that sponsorship.
So again, just to recap, we have a smart condom, we have Jim Beam, and we have a murderer. That is your publication so far. All right, drunk driver has been fined. This is also a McDonald's one. Just we're keeping the trend alive.
Cool.
Drunk driver has been fined $1,000 after he ordered 200 chicken McNuggets and yelled, and I quote, "I want my fucking nuggets!" at the staff. Yep. So he achieved a blood alcohol level of 0.175, which is fairly high.
That's impressive.
I think the legal limit's like what, 0.08 now or something like that. So,
yeah, I don't
so
remember.
he doubled on that.
Yeah.
Doubled down on the drunk driving. Went to a McDonald's during breakfast time because I assume he'd been drinking all night. Went to the drive-through because he's in a car with that level of alcohol. Requested 200 chicken McNuggets and was declined. Cole Olson responded, this is the gentleman, "I want my fucking nuggets. I'm going to fuck you up."
Wow.
Ostensibly, to give the employees time to rethink their decision, Olson circled the restaurant 4 times and then went back to the window and ordered 200 hash browns. So
Maybe they were just out of nuggets.
yeah. So well, it was breakfast time, and and then was very upset because they wouldn't give him and in the end he went to get a refund, and he asked for a refund for 200 fries and 200 Big Macs, none of which he ordered, which I think was maybe a get rich quick scheme. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Get arrested quick scheme. I want to know what the significance of the number 200 was.
I don't know. I think he was trying to break some record. That's my only guess. I know that it costs like $300 to get like 200 hash browns because they're like on the dollar menu.
That's really the saddest untold part of the story is that it only costs $300 to get that many hash browns.
It makes you
Maybe
wonder.
he had some house guests.
It makes you wonder why
Maybe.
you didn't do it, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing with his drinking, he doesn't have a lot of house guests, but who
Well,
knows?
have you ever had 200 house guests, Keith?
I have
drive
not
you to
had
drinking.
200 house guests, but I'm guessing if he does have 200 house guests, they are the type that eat hash browns using their pinchers. So the question is it news?
I'm on the
You don't
fence.
have to wait until the end of the like story to make the decision. You can jump right in. You don't have to like have time to contemplate it.
I don't know. I feel like during the lifespan of our publication,
Yeah.
it doesn't maybe it's not as sensational as some of the other stories that we've in our long and storied history.
That's true.
It doesn't involve sex. It doesn't
Right, booze.
involve. Well, it does involve.
it does
booze.
involve
Yeah,
booze.
there are booze. There are booze there. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not as much
But-
murder though, because in the last one, that guy murdered some people, and in
Sure.
one with the condom, it tells you how bad you murdered that pussy. So it's basically the same, right? I mean, those are aligned, right?
Can't wait to tell my grandmother to listen to this.
I already did. So
Last night.
is it news or not?
Nah.
Yeah.
No, okay. Let's see what else. So we kind of run out of time here. We went over. I'm going to tell you just a quick rundown of the last ones that we missed. Okay. We have headlines. Tylenol may help ease the pain of hurt feelings. I don't know if you knew that. Thousands unfollow Senator John McCain after he asks for more Twitter followers. The guy has cancer, for God's sakes. Nope. Kids work harder when they're dressed like Batman, study says. And man hacks jail computer network to get friend released early. It didn't work out.
It's a bummer.
So those we're going to probably post up on our Facebook page. You can read more about them. In the end, you ended up with a smart condom. You ended up with a Jim Beam dispenser. You ended up with a serial killer. And you skipped over the drunk driver at the end. Do you have a name for your publication? 3 strong stories. It's at least pamphlet size at this point.
How about all the news that's print to fit?
All the news that's print to fit.
It's clever.
Yeah.
Get it? Because that's not how that usually goes. And if we don't have enough stories, we can just increase the font.
And make
what
the
I'm thinking.
margins larger.
Yeah, just like I used to do with all my high school papers.
That's right.
Double space.
Double space.
All right.
That's
so there we
genius.
go. So all the news that is print to fit. Watch your newsstands for that coming up soon. All right. Back to the real news at hand. We have members of the band Fuzz Queen here in studio. They don't actually go into studio usually. So we're very lucky. They never let anyone see their faces. I'm making all of that up. And you guys have a brand new single coming out called Angry Angry.
Yes.
That comes out it's gonna come out on Friday. This comes out next week, so that Friday. It's on the 15th of December.
Correct.
You're going to Comet Ping Pong, and is that the first time you're playing it live as well, or is it just you are releasing the recording specifically?
We've been playing that song for quite some time.
Okay.
Several months, but this is kind of the party to celebrate the release.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The bris of
It's
the
also-
of the
Exactly.
of the track.
It's also the first time we're going to play it while playing ping pong.
Which is harder. You have to really practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I don't.
and the
good.
first time you'll
Natural.
and at Comet Ping Pong you'll be the first time you play the song while selling children into slavery, right?
Right. Yeah.
I
in the
heard that-
basement.
in the basement, right?
Yeah.
While
was a
carrying
given.
AK-47s. This is that is a storied, venue now.
Yeah.
Like, Comet Ping Pong used to be just a cool like pizza joint that had ping pong tables, and you're like, cool, and go to. And now it's like just historic because of all of this.
Yep.
You want a kid? I can get you a kid.
Amateurs.
Give me 9 months.
And a condom that talks.
Right. I got you. So Angry is coming out then, and I assume they'll be able to go up if they can't make the show. You go up to fuzzqueen.com and probably pick up the track there as well.
Sure. Yeah, it'll be available on all the streaming and downloadable, all the flavors, different flavors of electronic, availability.
Media.
We're not releasing anything physical just yet.
No,
No.
like Clinton. That's how I describe him. Let him out into the crowd. Roar! I'm Clinton.
You can't be giving away the secrets of what we're doing on
Right.
Friday.
All right, so it's great. But tonight we have a different track, right? And it's called Ribbons and Flowers. Now, I hate to pull back the curtain on the show a little, but I did not get this track ahead of time. So usually we do magic. We get the track, we put a fade in it. It sounds awesome. It's like we're professionals. This time we didn't get to do that. So we're going to send it to Engineer Adam, our wizard on the board, and he's going to do that post.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just leave a little bit of space to where this song would be. People can hear a little bit of it. If you want to hear the entire song, you can fast forward right now to the 1 hour mark of this show. Listen to the whole thing without any fades that weren't already in them.
Yeah.
There might be fades in it. I don't know.
No fades.
And so after we leave a little space, let's talk a little bit about this track that we're not going to hear. All right.
Sure.
So Adam, fire it off. Wow, that's really great, guys. That's that is a fantastic track. What was the inspiration for that track?
This is where I wish
John
that
Cage?
Yeah.
Was that? That's gonna go way over a lot of people's heads. So it's named Ribbons and Flowers. What's Ribbons and Flowers about? Do you know the background of it?
I think I'd like to leave some of that up to mystery. I mean, besides the fact that I don't write the lyrics for this band.
So you don't know.
I do a little actually, but I certainly don't want to speak for Erin, who wrote the song. And
She was supposed to be in here tonight.
That's true.
So we're gonna have her come back at some point.
That'd be great.
And tell us about these things.
Yeah.
You should.
We need to know the mysteries.
I will say that nearly all of the band's material, especially since the presidential election, has really centered around
social issues.
social issues, women's rights,
Great.
and yeah. So it fits in with that
Okay.
approach to songwriting,
Do you guys
to lyrics.
Do you guys find that you don't shy away from kind of having a political view on things, or is it
Not at
a
all.
little bit further back from that and more of an artistic statement?
Well, I don't know. Clinton, do you have an opinion on that? You want to address that?
Yeah, I don't think we shy away
Okay.
from political views, but I think we try not to lose the artistic focus.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think we strike a really nice balance between those two those two things.
Right. Not right in your face. It's not just like, I don't like the White House or something.
Right.
It's
Although-
more artistic than that.
Write that
Although I
down.
hate the White House.
That's well,
But,
because colors. So paint it from time to time. Just a little trim wouldn't hurt, right? Just to give it some depth.
Yeah,
So
it pops,
Right.
You want it to pop.
and so absolutely, yeah. I think that's really a great way for artists to kind of voice themselves. Sometimes I feel like people are a little heavy-handed. I never have a problem with people having a strong opinion, but I really love people taking the time to filter that through an artistic view, right? Because I think it gives us perspective. It's easy to just turn on the news and be like, I don't like that person. I don't like this person. I don't like this and that. And this is bad and that's good. But I think art has always, throughout kind of history, made us look at things and draw parallels and see perspectives that change the way that we perceive things.
Sure.
So,
Well, I mean, art and music don't happen in a vacuum.
right.
You know,
Absolutely.
And I think what Erin would likely say if she were here is, previous political situations have certainly inspired some of our favorite music, and
Oh, yeah.
we like to kind of continue in that tradition. This is, this music is an outlet for us and a release for us, but it's also a mouthpiece.
You never want horrible things to happen in the world,
No,
but great art comes out of horrible things
Often.
over and over
Sure
again.
can. Yeah.
You know, it's either escapism from World War II and you get big band, like fantastic energy things to like allow you to not think about what's happening. Or you have the kind of revolutionary singer songwriter stuff coming out of the 60s with the conflicts that are happening there. It goes, the pendulum swings both ways, but it tends to always have like, I don't know, just even more gravitas than like the art that comes out during a really like tepid time where there's not a lot happening.
Yeah.
So, at that point, we try to find the people who are having the difficult time and listen to their art, right? So, all right, so that's fantastic. You've heard a sample of Ribbons and Flowers. We didn't. The new single we don't have a track of, but that's because it is not released yet. It is called Angry Angry. It'll be released on December 15th, which is a Friday. Head down to Comet Ping Pong, grab some pizza, play some ping pong, buy a child, and it's in Washington, D.C. If you need more details, you can find out more about Fuzz Queen, Ben and Clinton, and the rest of the band at www.fuzzqueen.com. Anything you guys want to add to that?
No.
All right, good. Then on to This Week in History. So this is where I'm going to tell you some things that happened essentially this week in history, more or less. And as I go through them, take note because we have dancing. It's a great song. This is a fantastic song. I forgot who it is now. It's a very famous pianist. though.
Joplin.
Is
Is
it
it Joplin?
Joplin?
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was the
Maple
thought it
Leaf
was-
Rag, isn't it?
I think I think you're right. In a previous show, I knew that, and then today I'm just tired.
On This Week in History, you knew at
I
one
knew-
point what the name of that song
Yes.
was.
And now, no, not at all. All right. So we will start. I don't have a date. Usually I go through like the years. This one I didn't actually have a year for it. But it is December 5th. I don't know if you guys know this, but there is a holiday on December 5th. It is, and I'm going to not say this correctly because it's not in English and I hate everybody else. So, so I just shit all over the languages.
Go for it.
Krampusnacht, which is translate into Krampus night. It is the horned half goat, half demon who comes out at night to punish children who have misbehaved. Krampus is the companion of Saint Nicholas. They sometimes travel together.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's celebrated primarily in Bavaria and Germany, but essentially, like what I like about Germany here is that they've taken the full spectrum, right? Because in America, if you're naughty, you don't get presents, right? So it's like, oh, that's okay. Well, I'm gonna go set fire to things. Worst case scenario, I don't get a Nintendo, right? No, Germany is like, if you're naughty, he kidnaps you in a bag and beats you, right? But if you're good, you get presents. And you're like, that's a bigger gap.
That's a motivator.
Yeah, it's like, at the very least, I wanted to be mediocre as a child, right? And so, so you can celebrate December 5th. You can celebrate the fact that Krampus is going to come and punish children.
So I have a question about
Yeah.
that. Is Krampus, does he work with jolly old Saint Nick, or
Yeah, they're
do
companions. They actually
really?
like travel together sometimes, apparently, in the folk tales in which he's in.
So Krampus is not engaging in a war on Christmas.
No, it's not. Yeah, so it is not the same as what is it?
Starbucks.
Starbucks. That's what I was going to say. Not the Grinch. I was going to say Starbucks. Yes, it is. It is not Thanksgiving who's trying to like muscle in on Christmas in the early November or late November. No, it is. I think they are like a tag team. It's basically like a WWE tag team event where he tags in Krampus. He's like, that guy's a dick, and he's like beats up that child. I like that they're okay with beating up children.
Yeah.
They're fine with that as a culture. This goat demon comes and beats you.
It builds character.
Right. Where in America, we can't even decide if we're allowed to spank or it's timeouts. That's where we're at. They're like, sometimes we have a demon goat and beat our children.
Comes off the top rope and
Right.
elbows your child.
Right. Wow, you grew up strong, Germany. Woo. My goodness. Are you afraid of heights? No. A demon goat in the middle of the night might come and beat me up. 1954. The term smog is coined. A temperature inversion combined with the windless conditions trapped a layer of airborne pollutants to form a thick layer of smog over the city. It lasted till December 9th. The smog reduced visibility to just a few meters. And due to the sulfur content, it smelled like rotten eggs. It's estimated about 12,000 people died and 100,000 were made ill by the smog effects on the lungs. Most of the smog particles were coal-burning fireplaces due to the cold weather. It is the worst air pollution event in the history of the United Kingdom. This is in London, by the way.
Oh, I thought you were talking about L.A.
No, LA is also bad.
Yeah.
And it led to the 1956 Clean Air Act. I should have put London at the beginning. That was I led that on for a while.
That's okay.
And then been like, this was the moon. And so that's pretty bad when we don't even allow smoking outside now. And at that point, you had smoke.
How many people
everywhere. They estimate about 12,000 people died during that period because of not being able to
Giant
breathe.
fart cloud.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's rough.
It's impressive.
So yeah, also in 1954, the only known injury from being hit by a meteorite. Did you guys know that?
No.
Yeah. So we've seen meteorites before. You've seen break up in the sky. You've seen, shooting stars, things like that. Not a lot of people get hit by meteorites. One person, as far as we know, has been hit by a meteorite.
What was the injury?
Yeah.
I would assume.
Right.
Those things move kind of fast.
Yeah, she was shot into space. Anne Hodges is struck by a 12-pound, 3-ounce meteorite fragment, which is not small, just for the record. That's a barbell, like a small barbell, but a barbell. In Alabama, when it crashed through the roof of her home, bounced off a large console radio, and hit Hodges while she was sleeping on the couch. The 34-year-old Hodges was badly bruised on the side of her body. Another fragment was found by a farmer the following day.
Wait, she didn't die?
Did not die.
Because it ricocheted.
Yeah,
Still, that's
why.
badass.
Right. There's a picture, and it's just all like bruise all down one side of her body. And
that's the coolest story you could ever have to tell for like getting out of work or whatever.
Right. You would actually go to your high school reunion if that was the case, right? Because, we don't. Did anyone go?
I went to my 11-year reunion.
The 11-year reunion,
Yeah.
and that's all just the people that didn't know that it was 10-year the year before.
Well, our
Stoners.
class president, I think, was in prison for our 10th. This is not a joke.
That was satisfying, wasn't
Yeah.
it? That was super satisfying.
Actually, he's a really nice dude.
Oh, okay. I mean, before or after prison? 'Cause
Sure.
It can
I don't
change a
mind.
person.
I've not, right, yeah.
I'm
that's what I've
just
heard.
saying.
My ex-wife.
You got the 11-year reunion, and the president walks in and just beats up the biggest guy at the reunion. Right? Like, anyone else? Anyone? I know how this goes. Due to the publicity surrounding the event, the farmer was able to sell it for enough money to buy a car and a house. That's pretty great. On the other hand, Hodges fought with her landlord over the rights to the meteorite for over a year, at which time the public has lost interest in the story and she was unable to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
You get hit by a meteorite, you can't at least I'd probably put it in a museum and then be able to take chicks to the museum and be like, it's a meteorite right here.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where that scar came from. So yeah, something very
That's
interesting.
amazing.
Only time anyone has been injured, as far as we know, recorded injury.
Yeah.
1969, the Boeing 747, about the Boeing 747, the 350 to 500 passenger jet makes its first public flight. It flew from Seattle, Washington to New York City. interesting.
That's pretty cool.
I also know for a fact that I believe the last 747 just flew this week.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. I don't know where it went to from and where. I think California.
To the bottom of
somewhere?
the Atlantic, I think.
Probably, to somewhere in Myanmar, just where planes go to die. And
It was a Spirit flight.
yeah, it was. So that's interesting. They did it on the I don't know, whatever year anniversary that is. I'm not doing math. Fuck math. It's the 747th anniversary of the 747. 1984, the oldest groom ever. Harry Stevens weds Thelma Lucas. She is 83. And it's in Wisconsin. Would you like to guess how old Harry Stevens was?
107.
747.
740. Nailed it. 103. So still pretty up there. Like, it's weird because if you take those numbers down, it's a little creepy, right? Because that's 20 years difference, right? So if it's like a 40-year-old,
that's really creepy. I've never dated a woman 20 years younger than me.
Right, I'm not saying you haven't. I'm just saying you're creepy.
I'm not either.
And that's true. Look at your beard. It's like you went into a barber and you were like, "Do you have like a pedophile look?" And they were like, "Yeah, I got you."
No, but you do.
And it's okay. I have the same beard, and so I will be at Comet Ping Pong. So yeah, but if you mark it down, 20-year-old and a 40-year-old, you're like, all right, that's woo. I mean, high five, right?
Yeah.
But when it's
He
83 and 103, you're kind of like, that's sweet.
Good job for still being alive.
Right. Like, I'm not going to judge. Like, I don't even know if your legs work.
I mean, when you say till death do us part and you're 103,
It's temporary, right? Like,
it's kind of like somebody asking you, like, why don't we take a month and see how it goes?
right. It is. Yeah. There's a lot less certainty there.
Yeah.
Death do us part. You're like, this could be a week. It could be any time now. 1992. Police rush a video store and draw weapons on an armed gunman. The gunman turns out to be a cardboard cutout of Denzel Washington.
I feel like I kind of remember this.
Yeah,
Where did that happen?
it was probably a movie. Let's see. I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
I assume in Washington.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington. It was the city of Denzel Washington. It was in 747. I don't know. I don't like. There's a lot of stuff I'm writing down.
There's a lot of bad jokes that we could make.
Yes, absolutely.
I got one.
Yeah, go.
Well, if you didn't think there was a problem between police and the black community, here you go.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Well, the real problem isn't the black community; it's the cardboard community.
Yeah.
That's true.
Have you seen how much they shoot those targets? That's
Well-
way more than black people.
Can we just talk about the statistics around cardboard on cardboard crime?
Right, right. I've seen stacks of dead cardboard at recycling centers, just piled up like they're nothing, bundled together, just scraps thrown like they have no use anymore. That would be a great way to just get beat up, is to go a Black Lives Matter event and be like, what about these gun targets? Like that's the problem. And they'd be like, fuck you.
Maybe.
All lives matter and these targets. Like, gee, you're just like lowering the bar more and like everything. He stepped on a worm. He hates worms. Like, you do see how offensive this is, right? Like, we just take the concept to the furthest point possible. Anyhow, I apologize to all of my Black Lives Matter friends who are now not going to listen to the show. So that brings us to the end of this week in history. Nothing else in history happened. That's it. Those are all of the things that I found. And I'm lazy. So the question is, what is the most impactful thing? What is the most historic thing that has happened this week in history? Do you need a rundown? Do you remember them?
Oh my God, there's been 20 already.
Yeah.
I haven't. So this is to give you some perspective.
Yes.
It gave me some perspective. I have an adult student who was away at a retreat to become certified to teach yoga for an entire 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow.
She was gone. And, you know, the all of the news about starting with the Weinstein thing and just the domino effect of all the sexual harassment charges and
Right.
that have resulted, which it's great that all these folks are being outed and finally being held
absolutely.
responsible. And of course, as the Mueller probe seems to be getting closer to finding maybe some real dirt about our president, it's been so pervasive that it feels like it's been going on forever. But it's
Right.
been going like. It's really been about a month because she got back and we had our first lesson since she got back yesterday. And she told me that she got off the plane because she was busy all day, every day in another part of the world, not super connected. So she got off the plane and her dad picked her up and he was like, "You missed some stuff." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess that was only like 6 weeks ago that like, the Weinstein thing broke." And
Yeah.
it hasn't been that long. But I've been addicted to Twitter.
Oh my God.
For the past several weeks because of it.
Like I guess it's weird being a guy because here's the thing. So I do fall victim to this sometimes, right? And that is I don't know about the crowd that you run into, but I have a lot of people who are really decent around me. Right? I have a lot of very decent people. And so when women say like, "Oh, I get catcalled and I get all this stuff," I go, "That sucks," right? Like that I feel for you. But I also go like, is it that bad? Like, because I don't know, right? I don't see it happening.
Sure.
And so I think I'm just gonna take your word for it, right? Like it's that thing, like
As you should.
it's like when a friend says like, "Oh, my job sucks," and you go, "I believe you," right? Like,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh, they're kicking me," and you're like, "Wow, that sucks." And in the back of your mind, like you're like, "Wow, I've never been at a job where I get kicked. I guess that could happen, right?" And so I feel bad for you, like I empathize. And then shit like this comes out and you're like, holy crap, there are horrible, horrible people out there just constantly. And a part of you knew that, but a part of you wanted to be like, we've gotten better, right? And it's like, not a lot. Like there's pockets of better. Like that's really what's happened.
Well, you know, my comment, because I've had a lot of these types of conversations recently, and my comment, and, you know, I wish that I could remember the name of the gentleman whose article I stole this from, but and it may have actually been a radio interview, I don't really remember, but he was talking about how, you know, for example, with the Black Lives Matter movement and, you know, sort of the slowness with which much of white America has been willing to accept the fact that the experience for a Black American dealing with the police is decidedly different.
Yeah.
The slowness that you know that the white folks in America have accepted this is to say it's unfortunate is there's just not a word for it. But you know what he said is, you know, it seems like a lot of people are under the illusion that as a country it's just like it's a slider, like a binary situation, like okay, this happened in, you know, this is the way it was in the 1960s, and here we are now. Like it's a slider. Like we've moved closer to being good.
Right.
Well,
no, absolutely.
So in many folks argue, well, no, it's not. It's not really hardly improved much at all. And in reality, what I think has happened, and you can apply this to the sexual harassment situation or our political situation, it's just that all ideas are evolving, good ones and bad ones. And so folks who are really articulate and aware and, you know, woke, whatever you want to say about these various issues, like are better able to express themselves and are finding each other online. But assholes that still hold the beliefs of you know, not Nazis and that sort of thing. And
I was over in Charlottesville when it happened.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. I mean,
it was intense.
Those folks are organizing and are evolving as well. Unfortunately,
there's a part of me
so it's not an either or it's even a slider. It's that all these ideas are evolving.
I'm going to say a horrible thing right now, and I mean it in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way, but I kind of miss like just flat out racism. Because it was easier, right? Like you could be like, you're a fucking racist. Like you're saying words, you're doing things that are just blatant. And you could go like, I have to avoid this person. I have to walk away. Now they're smarter about it, right?
Yeah.
They're like sneakier about it. And that's horrifying, right? Because same results, people are still, being pushed down and having the same life experiences, but now it's harder to point a finger at it, right? It's harder to say like, that's obvious. It's gotten that grayness where they're like, no, it's not that. It's
Well, the
it's other
grayness,
stuff,
the
right?
grayness is the illusion,
Yeah.
and I think it's up to us to point it out.
Yeah.
That's all. We just have to stay one step ahead.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. Well, good. So we didn't get the what are we doing for the news? What are the history? We made up our own. Is that what we're saying? I think we have to stick to whatever. So we're running close to time here. So let me jump into this section here. Yeah,
Yes.
This is.
Far.
I want to jump.
That's what it's all
That's what
about.
it's about.
I understand.
I do. I want to jump into this because we have a few minutes left, and I know that there's some fantastic stories. So if I have to cut things short, I think I'm going to start with Far because I know for a fact musicians on the road have fantastic stories. I know at least Ben has to have something. Clinton, I'm sure you've got something in your back pocket as well. But do either of you want to get started with a story from your adventures?
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
Let us get to know you a little, Ben.
Okay. About 10 years ago, I toured with a metal band from Richmond called Suzuki Tun,
Okay.
and we did 20 shows in 21 days
Jeez.
in August.
That's intense.
It was, and I really did enjoy it, and I like the music. I still do. We pulled up to the club in Des Moines.
Yeah.
At about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, so we were very early.
Is Des Moines a metal kind of city? I don't.
Well, it is where Slipknot's from.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
I don't
even
know what that
realize
says about it, but yeah,
20 metal shows in 21 days is a lot harder than like 20 folk shows in 21 days.
it's a little different.
Yeah.
You know, they say that a good tour manager makes sure you're not late for load in, but
Right.
a great tour manager makes sure you're not early. So we got to the bar, and the bassist, who was our de facto tour manager at that time, because he just was, went into the club and then came out pretty quickly, not looking very happy. And so apparently what had happened, and this was the first time I experienced it, but I've experienced it again since. The gentleman who had booked us had since been fired and had not told the club who he had booked for several weeks. And so they had no way to let us know that we were not playing there that night.
Oh my God. He had gone on a yoga retreat for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, probably.
And so much had happened.
Might not have been yoga, but so we went into the club anyway, because where else we were going to go. And it turned out that the bartender was also a co-owner of the bar. And when he heard
Really?
about our predicament,
Yeah.
he said, "I tell you what, I'll give you 2 options. You can sit at my bar all day and I'll get you drunk for free.
Right.
Or you can sit at my bar all day and I'll get you drunk for free, and you can play after the show that we've booked tonight." And we said, "We'll take what's behind door number 2.
Really?
Very quickly, our plans changed when it turned out the other co-owner, who was off that day, found out about our situation
Yeah.
and offered to give us a tour of all the other bars that they owned in Des Moines.
Really? Oh, wow. So not just the one.
Not just the one, they owned 5 or 6. Now, I'm not a large person, and I didn't drink much back then anyway.
Sure.
So even though we were being fed probably PBR at every bar,
Yeah.
I became pretty drunk pretty fast, because at each bar we would go in, he'd be already somehow be inside and have
Like
beers in his hand. Yeah. And then we ended up at the state fair
Oh my
and got
goodness.
kicked out for having knives. This is a story that could go on forever.
Go on.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have you guys back at some point in time. You guys, did you have a good time?
We did,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Come back
man.
and join us.
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. So that has been Fuzz Queen and the first half of a long trilogy of stories by Ben Tufts, the drummer, Clinton Cool, the bassist. They are releasing a brand new single, Angry, Friday, December 15th at Comic Ping Pong. They also have Super Silver Haze opening for them and Fake Bodies. That's in Washington, D.C. Go check out www.fuzzqueen.com. Also, Saturday, December 16th, Repco and Milk Boy Art House in College Park, Maryland. Surprise Attack at Ocelot Brewery in Sterling, Virginia. Sunday, December 17th, Repco at Milk Boy Art House in College Park, Maryland. Please follow us, retweet us, do all those things. We cannot do it without you. Thanks most of all to Fuzz Queen for wasting a perfectly good hour with us. This has been another wasted hour, and if you just realized that, don't blame us. We warned you.